I was supposed to do this video about 2 weeks ago, but I got in a car crash. And on that day, I was gonna film the video. And in this video, we were gonna be going over the future, what the future may look like with the new cash out process that they have now in grocery stores. So I thought it would be ironic to kind of be out in nature as the video is about the robots and so-called them robots taking over, things of that nature. So as I show you the rest of the video, just enjoy this nice view of nature, because you never know how much nature we're gonna have left.
We got to the point where we could control the laws of nature by advanced electronics. But then, a mixed-up computer brought calamity. We found to our regret that it made uncontrollable monsters as well.
So what do we think about this, Meta Center family? How do we feel about the advancement of technology? I could only imagine the next time Tony does Project Etheric, imagine one of these drones in the air catching the footage in 4K in very high quality, where we can see all the intricate details, or maybe even the stratosphere even. In the rest of this video, we get to hear a lot of cool facts about Dick Gregory. And Dick Gregory's not going to be speaking, but it's going to be his son speaking. Huh? Yeah, that's right, Dick Gregory. You're not going to be doing the speaking this time around. It's going to be his son speaking. Huh? Yeah. And we get to hear a lot of cool facts about Dick Gregory, his take on technology, how he felt about the advancement. And we get to hear all these cool facts from his son, the one and only Dr. Christian Gregory. So stay tuned for the rest of the video. And
I hope you didn't like it. I don't even want to talk about it no more.
Alrighty, I'm here with Dr. Christian Gregory, the one and only Dick Gregory's son.
It's a blessing.
It's a blessing to be in your presence.
Thank you, brother.
And I just want to get right into the video. So what's your take on the pros and cons of just the advancement of technology? Things are moving so fast. So what are some thoughts you can share with some people?
So, first and foremost, thank you, Scholar. Second, I'm a Gregory, so whenever I respond to something, it's going to be a little long. So if I'm getting too long, just let me know. But I have a lot of passionate positions on what you're asking me about. So first, I come into this with the understanding that 99.9% of all living things that ever lived on this planet are already extinct. The baggage we bring to it is assuming what we know life to be to us is what is most important. And we can respect other forms of life, but we always prioritize human life over all other forms of life. What's technologically advanced for us may not be what my dad would always say, all the wisdom you will ever need in your lifetime you were born with. A bird learns how to fly not from going to school, it's just an innate ability that comes top down, inside out. So the most powerful thing in the world is the sun. And when you think of the sun, and my dad says this frequently, you can watch anytime you want to see real power. Real power is silent. Real power doesn't make noise. Real power isn't being rocketed through the sky on a rocket. Real power is not made, it's not a weapon, it's not an advanced weapon system. Real power is Mother Nature, it's the earth, it's the universe. And so you can wake up early in the morning and watch the sun erase darkness out of the sky without making a sound. And because we take all of this for granted, it's like air. We take it for granted until someone takes it away from us. And we don't respect it. So we're in our home and we think something doesn't smell good. So we say, oh, we need to freshen the air. So we take a can full of chemicals and spray it all through the house and say, that feels better. That's the psychosis. That's the sickness. That's the trick of marketing and engineering and making us think insignificant things, making our minds understand more fake dopamine than real dopamine, so that we get fight or flight reflexes from things that shouldn't even warrant a fight or flight response. And so our community's being hit with that so much more than others. That's where the aggression comes from, because there's so much pent up built in there that we're triggering these, some of these systems that operate with our body are, hundreds of years, thousands of years old. So we look at the Egyptians and the pyramids. we still, with all of our advanced technology, can't fully understand how the pyramids were built. There was levels of math and understanding that are far superior to what we're doing now. So to get back to your question, the movement of technology does not scare me. It does not scare me at all. Things come in cycles. What we do with this technology is what scares me. So me and you could walk outside right now, see something horrible happen outside. You know, I go home, big tough man, say I don't need to worry about it. I'm just going to punch a couple walls and I'll be good. You say, no, I'm going to go home, I'm going to meditate, I'm going to pray, I'm going to do whatever connects you and brings you to a Zen space. But all therapy doesn't come outside in. A lot of it comes from right here. You understand it as a trauma that you need to deal with. I say, no, I'm bigger than it. 5 years later, you've been going, I'm still internally dealing with that because I'm not being honest to myself. So what we do with the technology that's out here now is really, that burden's on us. I call it a burden because when I grew up, most threats that came into the home, they either came through the front door or through the window. Now we have this portal in our hands. We're about to have a metaverse in every pocket. We have this portal on us that allows us to go out, but it also allows others to come in. And you don't understand the good. It's like an automobile. It's great until someone decides to get drunk and drive it down the sidewalk in the middle of the day. It's not the automobile's fault. It's not technology's fault. It's not social media's fault. It's the fault of the user, the end user, which is us, using this. So if I use the shovel to move snow, great. If I use something to hit someone in the head, I chose the shovel's not the problem. So technology's not the problem. Some of the advances that we've seen in my lifetime are just phenomenal. I grew up in a very analog time. There was a lot of struggling, sickness and disease. All of the things that we kind of take for granted now was not that long ago. Nowadays, you walk out, everyone, no matter who they are more or less, has a smartphone, is connected to high-speed internet. You can literally, in the Gregory farm, we used to get Encyclopedia Britannicas that, you know, every year you'd get a new one. Well, if it's 9 months old, obviously it's not new information. Now, if I have this device, every nanosecond it's updating, it's algorithms, it's AI. AI used properly, I have no problem with AI manipulated. We already are finding racism that's written into the algorithms, that's written into the code. And as you know now, code writes code. So the important thing about understanding all of this is realizing that it's not the technology, it's our limited ability to see the beauty of the full spectrum of what the technology can be used for and not allowing biases to be worked into that. And that's going to take a lot. That onus is on our generation and your generation to correct that. And so, you know, there's a little Dick Gregory in all of us because he planted so many seeds, but it's going to be important that we find a way to find the focus, to not be distracted from all of the noise and focus on the big picture, because it is profoundly bigger than all of us. And it's a great question. I'm happy that there's young brothers like you, that because you're the front of the, you know, after George Floyd, Dave Chappelle said it best when he said, look, these young folks are doing a hell of a job. I'm just enjoying being in the back seat and letting y'all do the driving. And I would second that. Dave was brilliant when he said that. You all are doing a magnificent job. You're asking the right questions. And you know, us older folks my age, we're just happy to be in the back seat knowing that y'all got us. So, Scholar, thank you, brother. Keep doing what you're doing. 100% don't be in, and not that you're asking me because you're concerned, but the technology that's out here now can potentially level the playing field. It can, young folks your age in Ghana right now or anywhere else in sub-Saharan Africa have access to the same resources that you do, have access to the same micro lending that you do. We're here. I mean, there literally is going to be a metaverse in every pocket. The blockchain, NFTs, crypto collectibles, cryptocurrencies, they're here. They're not going anywhere. Despite how much we may be uncomfortable with it, we need to make sure we learn, understand, and we have a front row seat in there. Otherwise, it's one more generation that we're going to be playing catch up. In my lifetime, this is the first time I see a generation that has the capacity and the ability and the tools to get to catch up. Right now, this whole time we're talking, you're shooting me with a simple device that's in your pocket everywhere. You are a mini CNN camera team. Wherever you go, you can capture it, you can edit it, and you control the narrative of it. And it's from where I come from, and that's a beautiful thing. So thank you, brother. I appreciate you. Wonderful question, and onwards and upwards, brother.
Yes, sir. And so you brought up Ghana. I'm going to ask you one more question. you brought up Ghana, and I was just in the Gambia for about 6 months.
Beautiful.
And one thing that I noticed is the light bulb that goes on the young children's faces. Once they get these devices, they find new ways to communicate. And now let's get into the next question. You know, Dick Gregory, he always talked about there was an interview where the interviewee asked him, "Are you not worried about all this information that you're putting out?" And Dick Gregory said, "No, because it's about repeating it. He would say that whoever's watching, they're gonna have to repeat this, go rewind it back, listen to the information." And so I guess the premises of what I'm getting at is what do you think we need to do for more people to be in the light about, you know, what you conveyed upon? You know, because we have so much entertainment, sports, and things that distract us. Not to say there's anything wrong with it, but what do we have to do to focus in and hone in and for people to really see what's going on?
We don't have to do anything. And what I mean by that is we don't need the totality. We don't need the strength. Unlike the civil rights movement where we needed the numbers, this warfare is so different now. All you need 4 or 5 like minds that have the ability to control messaging. You know, we always talk about the Illuminati. The Illuminati was really just the people that controlled the media, that controlled the image. So for my entire life, the highest percentage of folks who were on welfare were white people. But the imagery of that, whenever we talked about welfare in the newspaper or the news, it was a black family. So if you control the imagery, but now with social media, that levels the playing field. And I know they can, you know, shadow block folks, they can shadow ban folks, they can change the algorithm, but you're able to get information out there in a way that was unheard of. Dick Gregory frequently said my dad was the original social media, because someone would tell him something, he traveled all over the world, he would literally share that message, as you pointed out. It's the repetition, it's hearing it. Man, sometimes it's 10 times for you to hear something before it clicks and it dawns on you what it's about. A lot of times it's just talk. So we don't need everyone. And I don't say, so it's great for the folks who, you know, I don't even want to say useless consumers, because they play a role, and I don't want to be disrespectful. So there's not a whole lot that we need everything to do. So, hey, if there's a horrible accident and we need surgeons, well, what do we need? You need to get out of the way and let the surgeon work, because it's above your skill set. So we don't need everyone. Everyone doesn't need to be a surgeon, because then we would have too many surgeons. Everyone doesn't need to be on the front line anymore, because the front line is virtual. So you may be the person that you wind up shaking up the world with, may be in Gambia, may be in Ghana. I could do that in my generation, because it cost me $100 per minute to talk to someone on the other side of the world. Now you can talk all night for free and video chat. So the playing field has changed dramatically. The borders have been eradicated. We're reaching out to folks, and like minds are linking up. So you don't want. It takes me 5 minutes, maybe not even that long, a minute, to figure out if someone's a like mind. And once I figure it out, I don't know. The mistake we spend is thinking we need to bring everyone up to our level. Well, you know, because we have some knowledge. Sometimes in our community, we use knowledge almost as a weapon. Oh, you don't know that? You didn't. There's things they know. Where some of us we don't even know how to grow a carrot. We don't even know how to grow corn. We don't know how to purify water. Everyone has a role that they play, and sometimes it's the folks who we think are the least significant that are doing the most meaningful work. So we don't need everyone to be on the level that we're on in shared purposes. And we're seeing fewer people do more to change the world. And it's really using technology. Back to your initial question, Scholar, we're seeing that technology really move on to shake things up. But with everything in life in the wrong hands, it could do good and it could do bad in the wrong hands. And we need to make sure that we're letting our people know not to be afraid of these things, to embrace it, because it's not going away. And so the largest group of disabled Americans is about to be 40, 50, and 60-year-olds that get left behind the digital divide. As we've gone full on digital, Web 3.0, the amount of folks who are not even going to be able to order a pizza because they're not comfortable going into a virtual space in the metaverse, because, hey, that's the only way you can order this pizza at our restaurant is through our virtual metaverse experience. Most people don't understand metaverse being experiential, schooling, putting on VR goggles and being able to learn from some of the master teachers in the world. I just imagine what my dad would be able to do on some of these platforms. My dad, some of the reasons, we were the first people in our town to have a VCR. My dad loved technology, but he knew you needed to watch the technology. He would take the battery out of things before you couldn't take the batteries out of it when you go to bed at night. So no, there's a lot of good things happening. It is really the power of one to connect with other folks that are on your level, because unless you want to spend the rest of your time getting frustrated trying to teach other folks who have no interest in what you're interested in, you need to figure out the ones that are on, that are on point and on message, and move forward with that. And for the folks who aren't, you just got to move on and just streamline. I'd rather you be lean and efficient than bloated and irrelevant. So you got your work cut out for you, man. I feel good just with the questions, with the knowledge. I mean, you have kicked it for the first time today.
Yes, sir.
You're doing your part, man. God bless you, brother. Keep up the good work. And it's
Yes,
a real blessing just to see how many young folks have been moved by my dad's messages, by his energy, by his comedy, by his honesty, by his passion. Long after we're gone, Dick Gregory seeds that he left here. I say all the time, my job is just to water the seeds, pull the weeds, keep folks out of the way. None of us Gregory children have ever tried to fit in my dad's shoes. We've always just kept them clean and kept them out there for the world to see. An example of selflessness and a willingness to be a party of one. A lot of things Dick Gregory did, he wasn't saying, never heard my dad say, who's coming with me? Get out the way. If you're coming, great. It's not my job to convince you to come. If you're not coming, get out the way. So,
yes, sir.
Scholar, you're coming. Anyone who's not rolling with you, not riding with you, at least have the respect to get out of your way. So,
yes, sir.
Thank you, brother. I truly appreciate this, and it's a real pleasure and honor.
Yes, sir. Now I'm done with the questions, but the last comment I'm going to leave you is when I was watching the Rock Newman interview today, he left a comment on the behalf of Dick Gregory, and he said that Dick Gregory had an abstract lack of fear. And I can feel Dick Gregory in this, this atmosphere that we're in right now. And that same abstract lack of fear that he saw in Dick Gregory, I'm seeing in you right now. I appreciate you.
I want to point this out real quick, because Dick Gregory was fearless. And it's different because a lot of folks here are reckless. And he always said, fear and God can't occupy the same space. And I was raised on that. If any of us Gregory children aren't that, we weren't present. And all of us were. I can speak for all of my siblings. It's that level of pushing, willingness to push for a better world for others, because that's a duty for us. I mean, activism runs in our veins, and it's been, since we were this big, we came out the womb understanding that. My dad always made it clear the movement comes before his wife, comes before his children, and that's the same way for us as a nuclear family. It's all about the upliftment and mobility, and bringing marginalized communities onto a level playing field. And that's a 3E, my energy drink company. Those are foundational pillars of every company that I created and provided, was to make sure there's inclusiveness and make sure there's equal opportunity to really reach out to folks like us who have been marginalized for so long. So thank you for your time and your passion, your intellect, and I simply say, stay tuned.
Yes, sir. Thank you. All right.